What's up everyone, John from ARTV. It's time for a review of the 14th studio album by English band Duran Duran. It's called Paper Gods, and it's the follow-up to the Mark Ronson-produced All You Need Is Now, an album that I actually enjoyed. Now, Ronson isn't really heavily involved this time around, but he actually does produce a few of these tracks, or at least co-produce them. Mr. Hudson is the name that you're going to see mostly in the production credits here, along with Nile Rodgers of Chic, who has worked closely with Daft Punk and a couple of other acts in the past few years, but I was excited after hearing the lead single Pressure Off. Now, Duran Duran, through the years, have played with so many different styles of music, everything from metal, disco, funk, electronic rock, synth pop, all kinds of different things, and mostly, since their classic albums of the 80s, it's been with mixed results, especially Red Carpet Massacre in 2007, but we're not going to get into that. There were some weird albums in the 2000s, and it seemed like they were getting back on track with Paper Gods. Pressure Off, featuring Nile Rodgers on the guitar, and of course Janelle Monáe on the backing vocals. She has her own little verse that she does on this thing as well. It's just a really catchy, hook-centric, pop-rock-leaning tune. Perfect for the summer. It made my best of June playlist, and I just don't understand why more songs couldn't have taken a cue from that one, because so much of this album is just lifeless. It's like it's doomed from the start. Now, I won't say directly from the start, because the title track, Paper Gods, featuring Mr. Hudson, was an interesting social commentary type track. It feels lengthy, but not quite as lengthy as some of the tracks on this thing. I mean, my God, some of these things just go on. And even if I like some of the ideas they had, like Only in Dreams, which Mark Ronson was a part of, it just goes on for 6 minutes, and it's like it doesn't know when to end, so they just keep throwing other things at you and looping over and over again. I mean, the 80s were known for that, and for making songs that were kind of, you know, had these long fading outros and that sort of thing, but they don't really capitalize on what made the 80s unique. It's like they bring in these sounds, throw in some drum machines and synthesizers that sound god awful, especially on tracks like What Are the Chances, featuring John Frusciante of Red Hot Chili Peppers fame. He's on a couple of the tracks here on this thing. But What Are the Chances just drives me insane, because I listen to that song and I'm like, okay, this could be a pretty good ballad-leaning song, and then it just sounds like you cut a giant fart on the track, because these 808s are just like rolling over the entire chorus, just flattening this thing out and taking whatever enjoyment I might have found in it just completely out of the equation. Now, that not only ruins this track for me, but then you've got tracks like Last Night in the City, featuring Kaisa, who had a hit in Hideaway a couple of years ago. It wasn't that big in the US, but worldwide it was pretty much just a phenomenon that could not be stopped, and it's pretty much genericism, just right down to a T. To its core, this song is formulaic. It's talking about, oh, you know, just, hey, we gotta have fun, we gotta own the night, we gotta make this night ours, and we're taking over the city, and that sort of thing, and it's just, it kills me to see a band with so much talent and just so much respect that people have for them taking advantage of this almost and just turning out shitty material, shitty recycled material. Now, there are some redeeming moments for sure on this record. I mean, I mentioned, I think already, enjoying parts of the track, Only in Dreams, but more often than not, it's only parts that I enjoyed. I need a full body here. I can't just have an arm and a leg. And that's, I feel like, all they're giving us with a lot of these tunes. Moments like Sunset Garage set up nicely. It's built around a pretty solid hook, and it's kind of a fun song. I like the guitar on this track, but once again, it just kind of fades into obscurity and becomes less memorable the more and more it rolls on. You Kill Me With Silence is another one that kind of takes advantage of this just lackluster and kind of almost lazy style. Change the Skyline also had some great ideas, and I'm not going to deny the fact that this track has an incredible instrumental break on it. I love the bouncing and tantalizing synth line that appears on this thing, but then they just get to the chorus and they've got the vocal guest here on this thing, and it's just like, change the skyline, and it just, it bores me because it's so sterile. They do get on a bit of a roll towards the end of this thing. I really enjoyed the track Butterfly Girl, which features some female vocals. I'm not exactly sure who that was, but it sounds nice paired up with Simon Le Bon here on this track. It was a good tune. It knew when to bow out and take an exit. It's only 3 minutes long, and I would have liked to have seen some of these tracks just chopped up a bit, and maybe I would have found a little bit more enjoyment rather than just sitting through an hour-long album that just felt more tedious than rewarding. I thought Only in Dreams featured one of LeBon's best vocal performances on the entire record, and then of course the track that closes out this thing, The Universe Alone, had some nice ideas, and it took the kind of melancholy approach and did it without throwing in too many outside electronics and that sort of thing to really diminish from this song's effect. Face for Today was kind of a redeeming factor right in the middle of this record. It was just a nice, upbeat, breezy pop jam that just had more fun than I felt a lot of these tunes were allowing themselves to have, but right after that we kill the vibe. We just drive it straight off of a cliff once again with the track Danceophobia. It feels like they wanted that 80s cheese, but it was okay back then, but now it's just like we're not in the 80s anymore, and we're not looking back on this as a track that was like, oh, it was so much fun back in the day, or I could see this fitting in with the times or something like that. It's just a track in 2015 that feels totally out of place. I mean, we've got everything down to the fake doctor, the girl like coming on the phone and saying that somebody is diagnosed with danceophobia, a condition, apparently. Paper Gods by Duran Duran does not impress me by any means. There are a few tracks that I definitely like, and there's only one track that I love, and that was the lead single, Pressure Off. There's moments on here that I enjoy, don't get me wrong, but Paper Gods just struggles constantly to find its footing. It's like it's leaning on like one leg the whole time and teetering back and forth with what exactly it wants to do, if it can actually stand tall, or if it just wants to fall flat. For me, I can't say that I'm enjoying this much at all. I mean, there's tunes that I find myself thinking, okay, this is alright. I don't mind listening to this because most of the time it is not bad. It's not something that I want to say is blatantly awful, but there's so many mediocre moments that I just can't really give this a strong recommendation. Still love the lead single Pressure Off, one of my favorite songs of the year, but other than that, not really a fan of this album. For me, Duran Duran's Paper Gods is getting a light 2.5. If you've heard the latest from the new wave synth pop legends Duran Duran, let me know your thoughts on it down below. While you're down there, maybe smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, because friends don't let friends go unsubscribed. If there's other albums that you'd like to see me tackle, let me know with a comment. Thumbs up some of the ones that you see people talking about the most. You really want to see me tackle it. I'll try my best to get to it. Other than that, you can click here or here to go to my second channel or the last review that I did. All of my social media links are down below. I'll see you very soon right here on ARTV.